All right, we are officially live. I'm here with Onision once again. And I think some people had some questions about why I chose to do this. Well, first of all, say hi, Onision.
Hello.
So I read an email exchange where you stated that you kind of wanted to focus on like politics, sort of like LGBT issues, right-wing issues. And so that was what, more so intrigued me, because I really don't care to go back and forth about like drama and things said a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever. That's just kind of where I'm at. I'm glad you're not in costume this time. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of conspiracy theories out there about why, and this is ridiculous, there's conspiracy theories about it, but why I was in that outfit last time. Some people were saying I was trying to distract from the actual argument, and other people were saying that I was trying to get people to watch my videos because it created intrigue, that I had blood on my face. It was actually literally just I just got done recording a video and I didn't wash the blood off yet. So, yeah, that's the only reason. I didn't record anything yet today. So.
Okay, that's good. So what, I mean, if I'm being honest, like you seemed very, very, very enthusiastic, borderline begging for this debate. So I kind of wanted to know, like, what were the topics that you wanted to go over?
Did you see, or sorry, you probably heard about it, but I didn't watch it. Did you hear about the apology video I made for Jacqueline Glynn?
I saw videos back and forth with you guys, but I didn't watch it, no.
Yeah. Okay, so I was driving in my truck and I had an epiphany about Jacqueline Glynn, and it just hit me all at once. And because of that, I made an apology video. People were skeptical when I was genuine. And then Jacqueline Glynn accepted the apology, and I made a follow-up saying, like, hey, thank you for accepting my apology, etc. Something not the same, but something similar has happened in between that time and now, when I was literally harassing you on Twitter or begging for a debate. I just wanted to say I didn't cuss or insult you or anything in the last discussion that we had, but
no, I was drunk,
Yeah, but I did, however, insult you endlessly, seemingly, in a video response that happened forever ago. And I wanted to say I'm very sorry for that because that was really immature, and I'm 32, and I should be a bigger person than that. As well as this crap I pull on Twitter, it's really childish, and I'm not very happy with myself. And it's not about whether or not I hurt your feelings, because I don't think I could possibly hurt your feelings. You seem like a strong person, but I did want to, like, before we start talking, say I'm sorry for being such a insufferable person, and it's not my intention, at least not now. And that was kind of like the problem is, like, I was originally going to come at you with like, why'd you do this, and this is where you lied and stuff like that, and try to pick you apart. But I don't really see the point, and so I'd really like, you said you wanted to talk about politics. I'm happy to talk about politics because I have a lot of questions about Trump and a lot of questions about your position in general. But anyway, I just wanted to say I'm sorry, and a lot of things I've done online are very stupid, and I'm trying to learn from it. But yeah, did you want to talk about Trump?
Well, I mean, I guess I should address everything you just said first. Definitely surprised, definitely taken a bit aback. I felt like this was going to be either one or two things going to happen from this. It was either going to be that you're like, this is petty and sorry, whatever, or it was going to be like a truly knockout, drag out thing like last time. So I appreciate that you said sorry. I accept your apology, and I will say I've said things that are stupid as well. I've been on YouTube for 2 years. I am in the grand scope of things, especially compared to you, very new. And I think early on you get caught up in like making videos, and like sometimes you go a little harder than you really mean to. You say things you really mean them in kind of a brutal way, and I think that's what happened with you. Am I skipping?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, but I do apologize as well. So if we can make this a friendly debate or a civil debate or whatever, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm really, here's the thing with politics. There's mostly the right and the left, and both people firmly believe in what they believe, and they'll agree with whoever they're supporting seemingly no matter what, because it matches their own values, so they'll try to justify and excuse almost everything they do. There's just a few things that I'd like to ask you about, because I don't think that you would blindly support Trump in certain areas, like for instance, the Muslim ban. How did you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't blindly support anyone. I made a video where I talked about sort of like an update of how I think Trump has done so far. I think I did that like 2 months ago or so, and I kind of like caught up on everything. And in that video, I stated like I support positions and I support like a future that I want to see. I don't blindly support a person. So whether it's Trump or anyone else, I can say when someone does something bad, someone does something good. I remember thinking when the Muslim ban came out that it was very poorly executed. I believe that I saw where it was coming from. And I also thought that there were certain countries that should have been on the list that were not. And that was really the gist of it. I know that there were a lot of innocent people that were very much, what's the word? Disenfranchised by it and were very inconvenienced by it. That's the word. And so that really sucks. So yeah, I felt like it was poorly executed and there should have been different countries on the list. And
what about the pre-election? There's so many things. There's so many things.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know this was going to be purely about Trump, and like I'm happy to go back and forth. But like I said, if you're wanting to debate with someone who's like, die hard, every single thing Trump does is amazing, you're not really going to find that in me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So let's jump over to you getting punched. Did that really happen? You really got punched?
Me getting punched?
Yeah.
No, I didn't ever get punched.
Well, there's a video where
the MAGA hat video.
Yeah, the Trump hat thing.
Yeah, that video, I wasn't punched. I was definitely in a little bit of a tussle when someone stole my boyfriend's hat, and they ended up stepping on my nail and I broke my nail. Which was particularly gruesome. And then later in the video, I had a drink on me, but I was never punched.
So didn't you have a black eye or something like that?
No, I never had a black eye.
Oh, okay.
If you got blackness, definitely when you have alcohol thrown in your eyes, your mascara's gonna run and stuff, but no black eye.
So you're fine.
Yeah, my nails healed. Yeah.
You broke a nail. Okay. About this is additionally about Trump. What did you think of? Do you think he actually feels like he's so famous that he can just go up and grab someone's crotch?
That's so old, girl. Like,
I know, but I want to talk about it because like in your videos you're very clearly supportive of the Republican Party, so you're supportive of Trump in that sense.
Well, I see that's where you're not going to find this like binary black and white person in me. I'm not supportive of the Republican Party. I'm supportive of, in general, if you were to line up, a lot of things, I'm going to end up more so on the right side. But I'm not, I've never called myself a Republican. I vote whichever way. I feel like the majority of my ideals and positions I support are going to be put into action in legislation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you did that video with Jacqueline about a conservative and a liberal, right? Who can get along.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're conservative, which means you're Republican essentially.
Lately, I stray away from the word conservative. I think it turns people off. I more so say right wing, but I really don't care. It's kind of similar. What? It's true.
I'm really against calling it water. I actually prefer liquid that has no flavoring in it.
No. I think conservative encompasses a lot more than right wing. I think right wing's a lot more broad, and I think conservative is a lot more concentrated on social issues, which gives off the impression that I'm very conservative on social issues, which isn't the case.
Okay, so
I'm fiscally conservative though.
You're obviously this is kind of another apology. Is when I made a video, and I always saw the title of your response video, but it's like something like Onision embarrasses himself or something, and it wasn't you weren't necessarily wrong when it comes to me embarrassing myself, because I didn't do research at all on you or your position or how you feel about the trans community, etc. I just saw that you were supportive of Trump, and then I just went off that, and that was really sloppy. So I'm sorry for that. But let's move on over to so you're not a supporter of Trump, is what you're saying?
No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that.
What I'm saying is you're not a full-on supporter of Trump. You're like maybe 70% in.
No, I would say overall, I think that has been a positive presidency. I think it's been rocky. I think some things have been bad. But, like I said, I'm not a black and white thinker. I'm not, a Trump supporter. I'm a supporter of certain right-wing positions. And you know what I mean? It's not as simple as that.
Can you elaborate? Can you elaborate?
Hold on. Having said that, I voted for the first time in my life for Donald Trump. And I'm considering voting again if he runs again. It all depends. So that's where I'm at.
What stood out about him to you that made you really want to vote?
Well, I would say 50% of it was him, and 50% of it was sort of my objection to Hillary Clinton and sort of the establishment politics, yada yada, the typical stuff people say. What stood out to me was his willingness to talk about foreign ideologies, Islam, for example, that pose a threat to the LGBT community. I think that was something no one's ever done before. It's something that really spoke to me, especially on the backs of the Pulse Orlando shooting. There was quite a few things, but
what about him getting rid of LGBT members?
By the way, hold on 1 second. By the way, this is not vodka in the chat. This is not vodka. It's smart water.
So he, as I understand, that trans people can't be in the military anymore.
I don't think that's actually been into action. I think it's been more of a talking point, which I have mixed emotions about.
That's gotta disappoint you, like for voting for him.
It doesn't. I can explain why. So, my initial reaction, I think it was like at the very beginning of his presidency when he came out and started talking about trans in the military. My initial reaction was like, God damn it, like why even go there? Like people are serving, whatever. And I had an initial objection to it and the attitude in general. And then I had to educate myself because I'm prissy, whatever, living in California, living in Hollywood, transgender. I didn't know what all goes into joining the military, right? I didn't know the amount of conditions you have to meet, the standards you have to meet, how you can basically have like an abnormally small pinky and they will stop you from joining the military, right? So to me, it's more understandable that I think there's an argument to be made. But
can I correct you real quick? They let people with Down syndrome serve in the army. So no.
Okay, well that's one thing, but I do know there are a lot of conditions that a lot of us perceive as to be normal, everyday conditions that will stop you from joining the military.
Let me put it this way. I had a wingman in USAF, Air Force basic training. He was a former crackhead. So they'll let criminals. Sorry, he's a drug dealer, I should say. They'll let criminals in the military, but they won't let trans people, I guess.
Okay, well, there's an argument to be made. There's another argument to be made that perhaps serving on the front lines at the very least isn't quite the best place for someone with gender dysphoria, especially someone who maybe isn't all the way through their transition.
The majority of military positions are not on the front line.
I'm aware, but I'm saying specifically for that. However, as I said a million times, I really don't see a problem with transgender cooks, transgender medics, transgender, anything else. But I understand when it comes to actual combat. And I also think that sex changes should be funded by the individual, not by the state. I know you're going to bring up, well, they fund Viagra, they fund this, they fund that. And I agree with that. And I would say that also shouldn't be funded.
Okay, yeah, because I knew a girl who got breast implants on taxpayer money.
Yeah, that's whack. That's really, really whack. I don't like that. I don't want to pay for anyone's boobs. I don't want to pay for anyone's, faux vagines. I don't want to pay for any of that.
All right. So it established that maybe Trump hasn't fully matured on this idea of just targeting trans people specifically when there's a greater issue and many other people who suffer.
I agree. Here's how I feel. Because in the past, before Trump's presidency, he has been at the very least publicly supportive of trans people. I remember there was a transgender beauty pageant contestant for one of his beauty pageants. I don't know the name of it, but she wanted to compete, and there was a big controversy. A lot of people were saying no, she was born male, she's had body modification, she didn't qualify. And Trump actually said, no, this is a woman, she should be able to compete. She has her sex change, she's done, she can go in. So there was that. There's also his promise during the campaign, like I said, that he was going to be supportive of the LGBT community, right? And so before he was elected, there were reasons to believe that he would be, at the very least, non-harmful on this issue. I think post-election, there's a lot of people in his ear. I think there's a lot of people that want to fight a culture war that are in his ear. And I think that part of that culture war, unfortunately, in a lot of people's eyes, is sort of not giving in to like trans acceptance, trans rights, etc. And so I think it's got caught up in that. I will say, like I said, I don't believe that the trans military thing is actually put into action. I think this is part of what every president does. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors, there's a lot of redirection of conversation. And I think the moment he tweets out that trans people shouldn't serve in the military, that's the national conversation, right? Every president does this. So it does suck though. It does suck. I'm not gonna say it doesn't suck.
Yeah. So I think
Miss Vanjie. Everyone's saying Miss Vanjie in the chat. Sorry.
So I think that if you voted Hillary, if most everybody voted Hillary, we wouldn't have trans people being banned from the military. That's what I'm saying.
But I also think, there's so much more to vote on than trans people, and perhaps it sounds cruel or whatever, but this is coming from a trans person. There's so much more to vote on than trans rights, and I can say that as a trans person. I didn't vote keeping trans in mind because there's just so much more. Because you can't get to the social issues, you can't get to the trans stuff before you deal with national security, you deal with the economy, you deal with all the things that affect Americans in general. I also think that the trans thing is on a natural sort of progression in the first place, and I think that it's only going one direction. It's going to be people eventually not caring enough to hate trans people. I think that's the direction we're headed in. It's inevitable. So I wasn't voting like this is life or death. This is about trans people,
Yeah, well, our progress in the LGBT arena was hindered the moment he was elected, as I can't think of a single group that would be discriminated on other than super duper rich people if Hillary was elected. So it's kind of like you're looking at groups of people who have done nothing wrong to anyone, who lost their rights, versus just a bunch of people who have way too much money who have benefited now, and as a result, Muslims are probably more hated than ever. At least their rights have been taken away more than ever. Not all of them, but many of them at some point temporarily. It just seems like a lot of unnecessary hate has been generated, and a lot of people felt validated now that Trump's been elected, specifically in the area of the Tiki Torch March and all that stuff. It just I don't know. It seems like when he was elected, the world got a little darker just because we were making so much progress with gay rights and all that. And
well, here's the thing. I think that it's all about perspective. I think when you look at things like the economy and you look at other things, you can say, wow, things are getting better. If you focus on certain aspects, the culture war is raging, right? And there's casualties. And I would say that it got darker on both sides. If I remember correctly, it was the entire first year of his presidency that there were like dozens and dozens and dozens of public violent outbursts of, leftist riots and a ton of violence. So I really do think, what?
I don't understand the point you're making.
No, it's true that you're saying things got so much darker, but I don't think that you can necessarily automatically attribute that to one side. I think that as a nation, it got darker all the way around. And I also will say that if you compare the amount of things that have happened coming from the left as far as violence, it has been a lot more. It has been a lot more. That doesn't mean, and listen, I'm not for a second going to sit here and argue that like Republicans historically or even now are like amazing saviors for trans people, because they're not. Like statistically, historically, they've never been like the champions of trans people. I just think that there were other things at stake that I wasn't willing to vote on. I would love the luxury of everything else being so great that I could just vote on trans stuff. I think that'd be amazing, but we're just not there.
I see a similarity in you as far as voting goes, because back when I was rich, I used to be rich. I would vote Democrat, even though that would make my taxes even worse, which is ironic. But you're voting for the Republican Party, even though it doesn't necessarily mesh with every aspect of you. It seems like you're a lot more than your gender, and that's a really good thing. So I like respect that. But and also, it's not like because you're trans, you automatically have to be the defender and the spokesman for all trans people. You're allowed to be trans and have your own views that don't necessarily go with every other trans person, because you're supposed to be a clone army or something like that. But
I do try in my own way. I think that I get a rap of like being like anti-trans and anti-whatever. But I do, in a certain sense, do some activism for trans people in my own way. Said a million times, I've gotten a lot of people looking at my channel who say that they've never in their life accepted trans people, and because they saw me, someone who holds the same, maybe more so right-wing opinions as them, they see that trans people as a whole rather than just,
Yeah, you realize you're the O.J. Simpson, right, of the Republican Party.
You're gonna call me like a porch monkey or something?
I'm just like I don't know what the hell you just said, but I don't know what that is.
Isn't that the word for like when someone is black and like goes against black people on purpose for like?
No, it's like OJ always said, "Hey, I'm not black, I'm OJ," and like and he got along with a lot of white people, and the white people were like, "Yeah, you're not like other people because you're different." And it seems like I don't really want to formulate an opinion on it. I'm just saying I see a parallel, and I don't know what to think of it. But
well, I don't think I have any parallels with serial killers, but I will say
serial killers. You mean just killers?
Well, I guess he killed like one or two people.
Oh yeah. Everybody always. I was forgetting about the guy.
Yeah, he killed two people.
Yeah, you're right. Okay.
But I will say like, okay. So I fully agree, like I said, that like the right-wing side of things has never been like the champion for trans people, and partly is because a lot of right-wing people, the majority of right-wing people, live in Middle America, in which they don't come across trans people very often, which is why I'm always a little more lenient on people who are willing to listen and willing to understand. Some people won't, right? But a lot of people will, and a lot more people than people estimate will actually listen.
Hey, are you in trouble for that porch comment?
Am I? I really don't care. I can tell for things every other week.
I think that might have been a problematic thing. I'm like thinking back, like, oh my god. Okay, so can we divert topic real quick?
Okay.
What is your stance on the Roseanne thing?
I thought it was unfortunate that an entire cast and crew is now, out of a job. I think that her comment was stupid. I think that you have to kind of be a moron to compare a black person to a monkey on the internet and think you're not going to have any backlash. I don't know what's in her heart and mind to judge whether
she said she didn't know that the woman was black.
I don't believe that. I don't know what's in her heart and mind, like I said, to judge if she has hatred in her heart for other races or black people. But I do have enough, side of the situation to say that she was an idiot. And I think that there are people calling out, the double standards that liberal hosts and people on TV from liberal shows tend to get away with a lot more. And I think that's a valid point. But I think a lot of people are falling into the trap of like defending what she said, which is not really defense of what she said. You can talk about how other people don't lose their jobs, and that's fine, but you can't really defend what she said. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And also a diversion of topics. I genuinely want to hear your opinion on it. But what do you think of white male YouTubers dropping the N-word with hard R? Do you think it's acceptable or not?
I really don't care. That kind of stuff I really just don't care about. Like, it depends on the context in which it's used, right? Are they going on the street and like yelling at black people that they are that, or are they using it for comedic effect? Are they, what's the context?
Let's say they just say it out of anger, but it's not necessarily at a black person. They just literally use the N-word with a hard R because they're angry at someone and they scream it at them.
I don't care. And I'll be super honest. I like do that when I'm playing video games, or I do that if I like stub my toe. Like I do that, so I don't really care.
You scream things out of anger. You scream the N-word hard R.
Sometimes.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I would never in my life use that word.
I just imagined you stubbing your toe and screaming the N-word. It's hilarious.
It's happened a few times, and I'm going to be real and talk about that because the difference is I would never weaponize that and use that and refer to anyone of any race for that matter as that, because that's really ugly. In the same sense that the word tranny, I feel like I don't take offense to it. I will use it. I'll refer to myself as it. I'll call myself a man for a joke. I really don't care. But I'm not going to go up to a trans person on the street and be like, what, tranny? Like, that's rude. So it's context and it's situational.
When I first discovered you, I didn't know that you were trans. And I made a statement like, what if you were pregnant or something like that? And
I know everyone doesn't let you live that down, do they?
No, I haven't heard about it in a while. And I just wanted to kind of like, if possible, focus on like, first of all, how long have you been transitioned?
I started when I was 21 and I finished September of last year, so 24.
And you're really happy with your decision?
Yeah.
And you felt this way since you were like a child?
I definitely felt different as a child. I didn't have the language to say I'm trans. I didn't know what that meant. But as far as gender dysphoria, which is the condition trans people had, my earliest memories in life are of having that. Yeah.
Well, just the reason I mistook you for a woman is because you're indistinguishable, like on a visual level from anyone else that's a woman. So I think you should take it as a compliment my own stupidity that I didn't research that, because
that's a compliment for sure. It's kind of like when I go to the doctor's office and they ask me if I'm on my period or if I'm pregnant. It's like, no.
that must be all the best parts of being a woman and none of the bad parts.
Best of the world, like Hannah Montana, honey. But yeah, as far as that comment, like that was sort of thing that got turned like a little bit of a meme, but I never took offense to it, obviously. Like, what? You thought I was a woman and I'm trying to be a woman? What?
Yeah, I literally thought, and I think I called you a dumb bimbo, which was stupid, and I'm sorry. No, I said dumb bimbo because bimbos are normally women typically. Someone called me a bimbo, I'd laugh my ass off. But yeah.
Right, it's kind of like calling. Oh my god, I saw a TV show where someone was like, the funniest thing in the world was calling a girl the F word, like the gay slur, like a fact. Calling a girl badly fact. Right? I have obviously said things that have been really vicious as well, and I think there's a few reasons for that, right? Like, first of all, you and I had the run-ins very, very early on in my channel. Like, I think like the first 6 months of my channel, we were making videos back and forth with each other. And then two people who were the first people I met and became friends with in LA, Shane Dawson and Dawson, obviously have very, very public battles with you, and I'm very, very defensive with my friends. And so I have this person, you, who I've corresponded with and had nasty words exchange, and then he's also in all these, beefs with like the two friends I made since I've been in LA. And so obviously, I'm gonna go extra hard because of that. But obviously it was petty and stupid.
Well, yeah, there are some people that I cannot apologize to because I was right about them, but like they've actually done things to really hurt people and so forth. But no, like the whole my beef with Jacqueline Glenn was about her boyfriend, and her boyfriend was obviously who I was really upset with, and it all came together in the end, and like everything that I was saying became obviously true about him.
We hate Richie cheated on
yeah, and so like I'm very glad that I was able to separate the two and realize that I wasn't really angry at Jacqueline, I was angry at him. So yeah, and I totally get you defending your friends. It's really honorable that you would do that. So yeah. Anyway, was there anything that you wanted to ask me about politics or anything that you want to talk about in general regarding the topic of the day, which is political differences, voting, etc.?
Well, there was one thing I wanted to address, and I feel like just in the spirit of us kind of like moving on from like being dramatic and fighting. There was one thing that really bugged me. I didn't even address it in my response video to you. My most recent one that was like in like December or something, was like you brought up the like Snopes article about my MAGA hat video, and that really upset me. And I kind of want to just like address that. You know, wanted to get that out of the way. Because
nothing's coming to mind. Can you tell me what is the manga hat or Trump hat?
MAGA is like short.
Make America Great. MAGA. Got it. Okay. I was like, anime? Manga hat.
No.
You wouldn't have gotten in trouble with that hat. You were just literally like, what are you doing?
Right. Well, if you don't remember, there's no point. But you in the video talked about like basically you were saying that like that entire video was fake. That's basically the gist of what you were saying. But like, do you still feel that way? Like, what's the tea on that?
I said it was fake. I think what I implied is that you instigated violence.
Oh, okay. Well, either way, like I felt like I don't know. Again, I get really defensive over my content, and that was one of the things that you went like really hard with. So yeah, let's talk about that. The whole.
Well, all right. So you walked up to a group of protesters, right, and you started picking fights. Yeah.
No, I did not pick a fight. And what depends on what you mean by picking a fight, right? Like, no, seriously, it really depends how you define it. Because I was on the street, a public street, anyone can go, Hollywood Boulevard, and there was a protest, a really big protest, and a lot of people were very like spirited there.
And you thought to yourself, "Hey, I should go interact with these people."
Because guess what? This is YouTube, and we do things for content, honey. Sometimes uncomfortable things.
Yeah, I mean, literally, that's like the biggest YouTubers do that kind of crap.
But like, here's the thing. I personally feel like being in a public space wearing a hat, even if there's a protest in the vicinity, is not asking for like someone to put their hand on. That's how.
Okay, so how close were you when interactions began?
I was pretty close, but again, it's a public area, and what I was doing was taking a selfie. So if that adds up to someone wanting to hit someone.
Oh, you just took a selfie. That's it.
All I was doing was taking a selfie, like kind of next to them, and like that's what happened. And so
okay,
that was one of my pet peeves because I think a lot of people.
That's hilarious. That's a very good troll move.
I mean, that was where I was at in my head. I was like, this is the video.
Here's the thing. Jacqueline Glenn went up to. This is a great video. Everyone should watch Jacqueline Glenn's video where she goes up to a really hardcore Christian, not a normal Christian, but like one of those drink the Kool-Aid Christians, and she's talking to him. But that's actually how I found Jacqueline. I was so inspired by her. Seeing her go up to protesters, and she was just arguing with him, and she went hard, and she didn't get punched. So that or she didn't get assaulted anyway. So like you weren't asking for it, that's for sure, because nobody controls their actions except for themselves for the most part, unless there's or something like that. So yeah, I was laughing because of the way you phrased it.
Well, I'm a mess, but like.
But yeah, no, you obviously, I don't feel like you necessarily instigated violence or anything, and yeah, so I'm sorry if I misled and went too hard on that. Here's the thing. I'm the type of person who can convince himself that he's doing something for a certain reason or cause, and full on like 100%, yeah, that's why I'm doing it. And then later on, I look back and I say, would I really act like this to this person if we were just sitting across from each other? And the answer is always no. So like, you kind of gotta like realize what you're really doing it for. And so when I make a video about you and I go hard like that, I'm basically treating you like you're the devil, and that's not honest. That's not real. That's not truthful. That's just trying to crap on someone and make them look terrible. So I have a lot of soul searching and all that to do. In general, in fact, that's basically all of Twitter, or half of Twitter, is people trying to make other people seem 100% pure freaking evil, etc. Oh yeah, that reminds me another thing. I want to bring up this old topic because it is important that I address this. It's very hard for me to see how things I've done in the past are inappropriate in a certain field because I didn't have negative intentions, like with the forums and so forth. I didn't have evil, negative intentions, appropriate images only, etc. Saying that, however, I've come to acknowledge that I should have been a lot more strict with the images that I shared. I should have made people state their age and not just said 18 plus only or anything like that. I should have actually been, hey, 100% established who people are. And even then, I should have been a lot more strict with the images I shared, reviewed, rated, whatever. And so I need to apologize for that because it was cringy and creepy, just because of the fact that I was not more careful with what I shared and I was not more responsible with who I was interacting with. Because the reality is, my audience is like, I'd say the majority are 16 to 19, and so that means that a lot of people may have. I just took people who either didn't say their age or said they were 18 plus, who looked like they could be an adult or looked like they were adults, and that's a problem because while I don't know their age, they didn't state their age, etc., and they look like they could be an adult. That's still pretty screwed up in the sense that you don't know. So yeah, I'm sorry for that, and you were not wrong about me. But I do want to thank you. You changed your video title to be more broad and not so like as if someone was targeting someone. So that was really cool of you to do.
Can I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
When did this epiphany happen? Because it sounds like, and I think I speak for a lot of people watching, like you. I don't want to use the word backtracking because it sounds cowardly, but like in a sense, you are backtracking on a lot of things that you previously had gone really hard for. And it sounds like you come on the other side of things and you're.
I seriously, I can't keep up with myself as far as my developments, just because like literally I was gung ho when I first started tweeting. I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna pick her apart and get every little detail and make sure that she's proven a fraud, blah blah blah. And then something just clicks, and when it clicks, that's why they call it an epiphany. Suddenly you're just on this other side looking in, and you're like, who the fuck is this person? I don't even understand what's going on. And that's what happened with Jacqueline. That's what's happened more recently. Is like for the last 3 or 4 days, I've just been like, oh shit, she accepted my debate. I don't even want to debate anymore. Like that's what was so crazy. So I was like, oh, I'll just come on here and I'll just talk to you and apologize and admit that I've been really screwed up. So I can't explain it though. It's hard to explain because I can't keep up with my own mind and the developments, the leaps that I've been taking. And I'll go back. It's like I take 3 steps forward, I take 1 step back, 3 more steps forward, 1 step back, and that's why it kind of seems like really difficult. Right.
Well, either way, I appreciate the tone change from the last time we did this, but I do have to address the fact that like every single person in the live chat is mentioning Shane.
Yeah. Dawson. Let's talk about Shane.
So, well, hold on.
Okay.
I would like to talk about address why everyone's saying his name because I don't really understand what's going on. However, I don't want to have the conversation go somewhere like super ugly because he's not here to defend himself.
Right. Okay. So let's not go there then, because like I have too many things that I could say about it, and I don't want to like approach it in an accusatory manner. I have a lot of questions about. There's certain things that you and I are capable of. There's certain things that we're capable of saying, or certain jokes that we'll tell. And I can't comprehend some of them, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily incriminating or anything like that. It's just that I can't fathom someone doing certain things. So when I see someone do certain things that I can't even comprehend how someone could do that, I find myself unable. Like maybe I'll have another epiphany and I'll just magically think, oh, okay, everything was okay. But I'm not there yet. I wish I could be at peace with everyone, but I'm not there yet in that department.
I mean, that's can't be peace with everyone. You can't be. But I think what you're referring to, just because people are maybe confused, is like there was an accusation against Shane. And again, he's not here to defend himself, so I don't want to get so far deep into it. But there's a clip that was spliced together of humor from a very, very long time ago, many years ago on his podcast, where he joked about kids in a certain way that led people to make accusations against him. Not that he had done anything, but that he had like made jokes that were very distasteful or whatever. And some people were tweeting before this saying that like you wanted to like blindside me with some Shane Dawson thing, which you probably changed your mind on if that's the case.
Yeah, I think I talked about things that I wanted to talk about with you, and then I like delete the tweet. I delete most every tweet that's not like so many likes or whatever, just because I like it being consistent. I'm like, hey, I like all this shit. But no, I was going to talk to you about that stuff, and I was going to try to make you look like you were somehow dishonest or a fraud or something like that because you would support someone who did, this and this, but I lost interest. So yeah, I wasn't gonna bring up Shane at all.
Okay, yeah, because I'm honestly bringing it up because every person in the chat is talking about it.
Yeah,
I will say that you apologize and stuff, which I can't force you to do. I will say,
no.
I will say for anyone who maybe has like the same mindset as you, because it's not like you're alone in your thoughts. Like I'm sure other people have the same mindset about me that maybe I'm a hypocrite or whatever. I just want to make it clear that like, yes, I'm like friends with Shane, but like I am not best friends by any means. We haven't seen each other in probably about almost a year. And before that, it was just a work relationship. So, I mean, anyone who wants to like guilt by association me about like friends with someone who made like bad jokes, like
no. I was referencing defending, that kind of stuff. And what's interesting about defending that kind of stuff is he admitted that he was sorry and that he shouldn't have done that. And I'm on board with that apology. I'm glad that he apologized. But at the same time, it also there's not everybody's going to joke about racism. That doesn't mean you're a racist. If you do joke about it and so forth. I felt like it was too believable. Like, and there's like a series of events. Like for instance, when you I could actually bring this up, but I'm not going to because as you said, he can't defend himself. So there was just a bunch of stuff that was done that was a little bit too detailed and is a little bit too far that I can't comprehend. So.
Yeah, I'll say everyone's saying call Shane. I'm not gonna call Shane. Talk about a blind side. I would have blindsided you. But I will say like dark humor is dark humor, and I personally think there's anything bad there. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there.
Yeah, but let's talk about YouTube because
oh my god,
you and I are both in this space where I think we both kind of come to a conclusion that YouTube can get out of hand, blah blah blah, and it can seep into your real life. Does the sort of because you're someone who I'm not attacking you seems like throughout the course of how long I've been aware of you, you've been in a lot of different beats with a lot of different people. Does that ever seep into your real life? Like does being in constant conflict with other creators ever depress you or upset you or affect your interactions with say your wife or your family or friends?
I don't know. It's really complicated because, as you said, there's a lot of people that I've had problems with. I had a friend, and I really love working with him. Like a bromance kind of thing. It was just intense. Like how awesome our videos were and stuff. And then it came out that he hit somebody and his girlfriend, and it came out he cheats on every single girl he's ever been with. It's like stuff like that. That's like hard for me to look past just because it's like I don't want to promote that kind of behavior, like hitting women, and I don't want to promote people cheating on significant others, etc. Like I have my own complicated past with polyamory, but as far as monogamy goes, it's really complex and stuff. But when I have beef with someone, like unless I apologize for it, that probably means that it's real beef. So there's a select few people who I actually have real problems with, and everybody else is kind of superficial. So like, I don't know what to say about it.
No, just because I think sometimes there's this conception that YouTubers like they leave all that shit online and like it never affects them in real life.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
The negativity and stuff doesn't, I'm just wondering if it ever like.
No, it's all real. It's all real. Every last bit of it.
That's what I would say. It is all real. So like, I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's just words, and like to an extent it is, but to an extent, like it does affect you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been owned by haters. Like literally, I'm property of haters for like years and years because I would let them become my mental narrative and stuff like that. Like
that's bad. That's really bad to do.
Yeah, well, it explains a lot of my behavior. It explains my consistent negative patterns because I actually listen to them a lot of times. I give them way too much power. And just like some random person online tweets me something, I say the right thing, but I'm triggered like the rest of the day. It's messed up. So yeah, no, YouTube for me is a lot more serious than it is for a lot of YouTubers, just because like they have most people have lives. I don't really have a life. Like I'm obsessed. It's an addiction for me. So
what, creating videos and being on YouTube and stuff?
Yeah, interacting with human beings and seeing their reactions and making a difference. Sometimes, actually, as of late, it's been a not so positive difference. That's what I'd like to change.
See, that's been kind of the case with me. Is like separating, like not letting people's opinions online become your own mental narrative and like affect how you actually see yourself. Obviously, doing politics on YouTube, you're gonna have a lot of people who have a lot of really bad things to say about you. And when you first start, it can start to actually affect how you see yourself. So, I mean, personally, I'm not gonna name any names, but I know a lot of YouTubers who literally go to therapy for it because it's a thing. It's a thing. Dealing with here's my thing. There have been so many studies that show that social media is really bad for people's self-esteem, for their mental health, etc. And those studies only account for people that like log in on Instagram on their lunch breaks, right? There haven't really been studies on people who make their living on the internet and are constantly in tune and like have thousands upon thousands and thousands, sometimes in some cases millions of people constantly inputting in their lives. And so I think it actually is very bad for you, in my opinion.
Yeah, I see what it does to my spouse. I know a bit about what it does to me. It's a lot. There's a lot of things. Let me put it this way. I'll speak about basically every YouTuber I've ever met.
Who's Billy? Everyone's saying you should apologize to Billy.
I was in a poly relationship with a girl named Billy. But let me finish this real quick if you don't mind. Okay, so most every YouTuber I've ever met, like Sear, Shane Dawson, Swift Karate Chop, Making Bad 35. I don't know about Jacqueline Glenn actually. She seems pretty chill. But most all of them are losing their minds when they make videos. Like they're not sure if it's going to do well, and they're not sure if they're going to post the video, and oh my god, what are people going to think, and stuff like that. And it seems like a war zone on their mind every single time they post. Like for instance, like there's this YouTuber D-Fizzy. If he got over his anxiety, he could upload probably weekly, daily, whatever. But he is so racked with anxiety and fear and depression and stuff like that he can't. And it's like I think most every single YouTuber has mental issues as far as their happiness and their struggle with life. I can what's that?
Some of us think we're women. There's a lot of stuff going on. You know what I mean?
I'm supposed to talk about Billy.
You don't have to talk about anything you want to talk about. I'm just trying to give a voice to everyone in the chat and everyone.
Yeah. No, I have endless apologies for Billy. I revealed way too much information about her. She gave me information in private, and I shared it with. She said I was the worst person she ever met. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm the worst person you ever met. Well, what about this person, this person, and this person, and this person? And those people did pretty awful things to her, but those were secrets about the things that happened, and I revealed it to everybody. And that was a real shitty thing to do. And so I should be ashamed of myself for that and whatnot. And there's like I wish death on everybody who smokes pot because of her. I said I wish we could overdose on pot, and I was like, and then I immediately retracted it. Like,
are you against marijuana like that?
No, not exactly. No, not really. I was against the illegal use of it because it risks everyone around you. It makes your whole life. But I don't like legal acts. I don't like things that are going to take you away from your family, your loved ones, etc. Or even worse, put your family members at risk to go to jail themselves if they're caught around pot or whatever like that. So where she's from, it's illegal, and here it's not illegal. So I didn't give her too much grief about around here. I even said you can smoke pot, just don't smoke around the house, or whatever. But yeah, no, I have countless apologies for her. And last I heard, she was really happy now, and I'm happy for her. So it's all good.
That's good.
No.
So to be honest, I feel like we've kind of covered a lot of stuff. Are there any other topics that you had in mind that you wanted to actually have a back and forth on, debate, anything like that?
I don't know, man. Why don't you make more videos?
Want to make more videos?
Why don't you create more?
So I was in a habit of doing once a week. If not once a week, it would definitely be like once every week and a half.
Yeah.
And about like 2 to 3 months ago, it slowed down just because I've been incredibly busy. I'm working on a tour that I'm setting up.
Is that full screen?
Yeah, why?
Because full screen puts everybody on tour. They asked me to go on tour once, and I was like, no, absolutely not. I'm gonna get stabbed. Are you kidding?
Well, yeah, that's one of full screen gigs. Like, oh, we signed you. Okay, go on tour.
Yeah.
But I will say they've never sent someone like me on tour. It's something new for them. They've never done politics before, so it's very cool.
I think they did Jack's Films and Sear went on tour debating something. I don't know. Maybe they were debating politics.
Well, I don't mean politics in general. I mean like being on the right wing specifically.
Can we talk about your tour? What's that gonna be like?
Well, one second. I want to kind of list the reasons why I've been a little slower on videos recently.
Go ahead.
I'm setting up a tour. I'm working on a pilot for a TV show. I'm currently working on a movie documentary. There's just like so much that it's slowed down to like once every 2 weeks. But starting literally like now, it's gonna be back to weekly. So for everyone working with that.
That's awesome.
So there's a lot.
I hope you don't mind, but I want to talk about all that. First off, the documentary. What's that about?
Can't really say much. I will say that there's a company. Why are you laughing?
Go ahead.
What?
I thought it was funny that I asked you a question and then you responded with it. You can't talk about it. I was like, well, brick wall. Like, can we get past
well, kind of. I mean, I can talk about the fact that I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I've done press for it already, but I can't say exactly what it's about.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm working on. It's like the biggest project of my life. Working on a movie right now,
Yeah.
and it's something that a really, really cool company reached out and they do American television. So working on that. Yeah, but what else?
All right. So also your tour. What are you gonna do? Like when people show up, I imagine it's gonna be like theaters and stuff, like where people do plays and stuff or whatever. They're gonna show up in the audience. What happens?
Yeah, so we're doing, I believe, 300-person venue. It's going to be in August, and it's going to be, I'm going to come out with a speech and kind of talk to the audience and just bounce back and forth off them. And then we're also going to have a panel part where I talk with other people, do debates, and Q&A. Sort of the typical political tour.
Who are you debating with?
We're working on getting guests right now. There's a few people on my mind that too. And I'm going to be honest, you were one of the people that I was going to, hit up and say maybe we should debate, but at this point, I don't know.
Well, here's the thing about me. As far as what I want, when I first started YouTube, it was 2007, I think, and I had this phrase, "We are whatever we wish to be," because I'm able to flip a switch, or whatever, and act. Or conjure up whatever person I feel like being. But as of late, I've just been really depressed. So, but if I needed to ever be one thing or another, it's pretty easy. Like if I really wanted to, I could come on this debate and say, you're this, this, and this, and here's a list of all the crappy things. But I just didn't feel motivated. But no, yeah,
Everyone in the chat is saying talk about there's two things: gender and Eugenia.
What about Eugenia? I apologize to Eugenia.
I guess everyone just wants you to keep apologizing to people. I think that's the trend. So why don't we just list off everyone you need to apologize?
Yo, I already said I was sorry to Eugenia repeatedly, and then I made a bunch of videos complimenting her. Because, well, for instance, like if you make a video about Eugenia, you get hits. So that's like the natural motivator of a lot of people talking about anyone. Eugenia is clickbait just by herself. Like if you just show her shoulders up, she's clickbait. YouTube will actually demonetize if you show anything below the shoulders, because apparently YouTube thinks her body is not monetizable. Which is just crazy. But no, like Eugenia, I've already apologized to her and she already said that she liked the video I did where I was like, hey, I went too hard. Because initially my narrative was that Eugenia's gonna die any day now. But then I did more research because she's obviously not heavy. She's not even average weight. So it scares a lot of people. And she gets like half dislikes every other video she uploads just for her body weight. But yeah, no, I sent people, I was like, we should boycott Eugenia's, like unsubscribe from her, stop giving reviews, etc. Because she's encouraging people to have weight issues, etc. And to starve themselves. And I don't think that my narrative was fair in the sense that people with these actual eating disorders, they often live a lot longer than I portrayed. I did more research, and she's gonna live probably till she's 50 something.
I think.
Are you watching your words carefully?
No. I think that was part of my biggest issue with you is that is the talking about people's bodies. You've done Eugenia, who clearly I don't know the girl. I do not know the girl. We have mutual friends. I do not know her. I'm very hesitant to talk about people's health because I'm not a doctor. But let's say hypothetically she's going through something. To me, it was very awful to see someone making videos about that and trying to capitalize off someone's suffering. If she was suffering, I don't know, right? And then also you made videos about shamed weight and stuff. And to me, I mean, I'm not an angel. I've done a video about fat acceptance, but to me that was a little different. I wasn't being you're disgusting. I was more so talking about the health of being overweight.
Yeah.
So that was one of the biggest issues that I've had with you is that you go really hard about people's bodies when you don't really know their struggle and their journey.
I feel like a lot of people didn't watch to the end of the Shane videos, because at the end of every single Shane video, I was like, he's actually not fat and his body's perfectly fine. He's gonna live a long time. So that's kind of weird that people are saying I was trying to. He emailed me and he's like, he said I said his body was disgusting, and I apologized to him directly because I don't remember saying his body was disgusting. I don't know why I would say that, but if I did say it, it was wrong. And I already apologized to him directly for this hypothetical situation where I said that. But like I said, at the end of those videos, I was always like, he's not fat, literally not fat, and he's actually apparently lost a lot of weight since then or something. I don't know. But no, but in regards to Eugenia, yeah, I apologize for that too, just because it is kind of silly to act like we care so much when we're really doing this because people are demanding we do it, and not because it's actually the center of our world. And it appears to be the center of our world. Like for instance, people who make hate videos about me, I don't think they actually care about me. What they care about is the fact that when they put my name in the title, for some reason they still get views despite how irrelevant I am. So it's amazing that these views are going. I'm relevant in the hate world. I'm not relevant in the anything but hate worlds. If you see, it's kind of like how Trump was initially. Actually, I don't think that's a fair comparison. He's president of the United States. He is relevant. But there's a lot of people who you'll watch this. I forget her name. There's this girl who's really crazy left, hardcore, die-sit scum kind of person, and she gets no views on her channel, but any video about her gets 1 billion views or whatever, a lot of views. And so it's kind of where I am with all that. And when I was making these videos about Eugenia, yeah, I was doing it because people wanted me to, because they're like, thank you so much for talking about this. It's so important to encourage people to eat healthy, etc. There was a really good underlying message there. The problem was that I made it so personal about Eugenia, and I made it like an attack on Eugenia. It should have been not involving Eugenia. Maybe Eugenia could have been mentioned, but it couldn't have been hey, everybody, let's actually take a stand against Eugenia. That was really mean.
Do you feel trapped into making content that attacks other people? Because I think sometimes because
no. Nothing I do even works these days, so it doesn't matter anyway. Back in the day, I used to know what would be a successful video. I could actually predict which videos going to rocket to 1 million views, and I would occasionally do that. But then I do typical, and then eventually I do I know this video will take off, and it would. But nowadays on YouTube, it doesn't matter if it's drama, it doesn't matter if it's regular video, etc. I can't predict what will do well. So there's really no point in even trying to have an agenda of hate or whatever. And you could say that all these apologies were based on me no longer making money off that stuff, and it could be entirely greedy, and I could be a total scumbag as a result. I'm just trying to portray the full picture here. I don't know my motivations. I really don't. I just know how I feel, and it could be a result of something narcissistic, or it could be a result of a number of other things, financial gain. Could be me trying to pander to your audience and say, hey guys, I'm great now. Come love me, or not. I don't know. I have no idea. But what I do know is that whatever I do typically doesn't work. So I may as well just, I guess, that is it. I know that no matter what I do, it doesn't work. So I may as well just do what comes naturally. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Well, I think a good idea for you would be to make a series of videos on your channel. I apologize too. No, for real, because I think going off based, the engagement we're getting on this, the majority of what people are saying is apologize to this person, apologize to this person. And so I think the videos of you apologizing to them would be successful because everyone wants them.
Well, I've already apologized in this stream. So
no, I know, but less people are going to see it because it's in the middle of a huge long stream. I think a back-to-back, Eugenie Cooney, Shane Dawson. You don't have to do me.
Well, we can leave that up to the blog then. There's this. You all right?
I'm good.
Yeah, there's a couple of people who they take other people's live streams and they cut them up into pieces and they say so-and-so apologizes to so-and-so. I know that would get views, but I feel like I've already done it, so I'm going to sacrifice the views for the sake of having already done it. So like if anyone wants to cut the stream, I'm sure that's up to you. But yeah, no, the apologies are all here, and I don't need the world to love me or hate me. So that's not my agenda. My agenda is literally I wake up in the morning, what video do I want to make today? And I'm not going to wake up in the morning and go, I'm going to apologize to another series of people. I already did that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess in a sense, it's kind of freeing, right? So like, it sounds like that internal battle of like, what should I make a video on? That maybe you've like moved past that, but now you're just like, I'm just going to do whatever I want.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Sounds freeing. I mean, I still have the conflict. I still think there's still a lot of ideas that I want to do, but I'm like, well, how can I turn that into something that people actually want to watch?
Well, you got to keep doing what you're doing because you're actually successful. Like you've been only at this for 2 years and you already have hundreds of thousands of subs. And like when my 2 years in, I had 25,000 subscribers. So you're huge, and you have to think critically about your videos because you need to think like, what is going to do well? If it doesn't do well, it doesn't do well for an entire week. That must be horrible. So like you got to think critically. So yeah, I would say take advantage of your position the best you can. And if I knew then what I know now, I'd be a very different person. But you only got the future. Anyway,
what is in your future, Greg? Like, is there anything besides YouTube that you would do? Are you ever going to move on from it? Are you ever going to,
I'm a former cop. I was a cop in the Air Force. So yeah,
so
yeah, I definitely would. But I have no intention of doing that because I have people that count on me. I don't want to plug myself, so I won't say where they count on me. But yeah, I have people that count on me, people who are very supportive of me that I would never want to let down, and I always want to create content for. So I'm gonna continue creating content regardless of my financial situation or what I'm doing as a job. There was once upon a time in 2007 when I was like literally choosing life or death, and I was like, well, I had a loaded M9 to my own head, which sounds crazy. I noticed that was again when I was a cop and I was out on a post and I was like alone in the middle of the night. I was horribly depressed. I was like, well, you can't end your own life because you have your significant other to watch over here in South Korea, and you also can maybe set a goal of becoming famous on YouTube, like actually being successful and helping other people and being impactful and making a difference, etc. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. And then I dedicated myself to that for the last 11 years, and I did relatively well, especially thanks to ironically collaborations with big YouTubers, who many of which I later on had rivalries with and hated, etc. Just because I took them too seriously. When I was collaborating with YouTubers, I literally was like, you're my friend now, and that was a mistake. It's a huge mistake. So that was part of me. My downfall is I took people way too seriously. I thought that when we collaborated, that meant we were buds, and I didn't realize it was all just business. So anyway, so that was part of I invest way too much into YouTube, and I invest way too much emotionally into this to ever give it up. So.
Another thing everyone is in the chat saying is that we should talk about gender.
Okay.
Do you have any indications what they mean by that?
Well, my spouse is not part of a gender by their own establishment. Like if you look at my spouse, they seem pretty in the middle. So I don't really have a big stance on gender. I think that if you want to be something and it's going to make you happier, then you should be that so long as it doesn't hurt anyone.
Mm-hmm. I think people kind of want us to go back and forth about like the non-binary thing, which coming out very soon. Where I'm sort of going over that, but in a different way than before, and it's a collab as well. But I don't know. I think that's people just wanting us to butt heads about your wife. And I don't have any real beef with your wife. Never interacted with her.
Yeah, well, okay. So when it comes to non-binary people, they prefer they them, and it sounds grammatically incorrect, except there's actually many contexts where it's grammatically spot on. Just depends on how you use they, there, etc. But it's something that kind of has to develop over time because gay used to mean happy and then it meant something else over time. But people try to be literal with that. I've been literal plenty of times in the past myself. But what is your position? You no doubt think that there's only two genders because there is, right? There's two genders and then there's the lack of a gender. Do you just think that there's no such thing as a lack of a gender?
I think that there's male and female, and I think that a male or a female can choose to modify their bodies in certain ways, present in certain ways to where they are read as the opposite gender, and they perhaps feel more comfortable living that way.
Yeah.
I also think that there are intersex people who are born with a condition to where their gender is not as easily identifiable. But my position on the non-binary thing has always been, and a lot of my trans friends are the same, and you'll see that very soon in my collab, what I'm doing soon. Like it's almost like in certain ways an insult, right? Because it's someone who, in many cases, has never transitioned, will never transition, and they are calling themselves trans or under the trans umbrella when their life experiences, struggle, and journey is not even remotely comparable to that of a trans person who undergoes transition. Yeah. So I always feel a way about that. I feel as though, no disrespect to anyone who wants to claim whatever label or how they feel, because I'm not in the heart and minds of anyone else but myself. But I dislike being grouped in with that because it is so different in the same sense that, like, I'm sure Black women don't want to be grouped in with Rachel Dolezal because she can, do what she wants, but it's not the same thing,
Yeah, well, it sounds like a lot of people aren't good enough for you.
No, it's not about being good enough at all.
It sounds exactly like that.
Well, it's not. Okay. What it is for me, because here's the thing. I don't think I'm better than anyone else on this planet. I put my pants on one leg at a time like everyone else on this planet.
No, it's just like you using that phrase when you're wearing a dress.
Yeah, it's a romper. Okay. But, my point is, a lot of the times what being trans is, what it means, and who trans people are, is diluted and changed based on people who don't actually go through the things that we go through. It's not about being better, because who am I to think that because I've popped some hormones and had some surgery that I'm better than someone? I'm not. Yeah. It's just about people trying to fit into a definition which confuses other people about who I am. Does that make sense?
I think that's, it's a very interesting war to wage on people who just want to be accepted for who they are. And I think it's a small price to say, hey, you can be part of this club too, for the sake of just swallowing your ego,
Well, I don't think it's ego. For example, this is a really good example of my short position on this. When I first started transitioning, I had a friend. Yeah. No names, but I had a friend who went to the same school as me, and he was like one of my best friends. I started transitioning. I went to a doctor. I went to therapy. I started saving for surgery. I did everything by the book, and I was going through a lot. I was having my family, struggle to accept me. I was depressed. I was going through a lot, mentally, physically, everything. Because being trans in the beginning really is not easy. About 2 months after I started transitioning and was going through all this, he started saying, I'm trans too. And I was like, oh my God, like, you didn't tell me this is such a coincidence. We're like friends and you're trans too. He was like, well, yeah, but I'm non-binary. And I'm like, oh, so what does that mean exactly? He's like, well, sometimes I like to wear lipstick and have my facial hair out, but I'm never gonna transition and I don't have gender dysphoria. And this is just kind of presentation. I fit technically under trans. And I was like, so I'm sitting here going through all this. I've had these feelings since I was 4 years old. And then on comes someone who thinks that dyeing their hair and wearing lipstick and having a beard means that they're the same thing as me. And in all actuality, it's not about fitting in a club. It's just about saying, no, we're not the same thing. And that's okay. You can be your own thing, your own thing, but we're not the same thing.
Well, that's why it's called being agender or non-binary and not being the opposite gender. Like a non-binary person is going to say that they're the same as you, but they do deserve to be part of LGBT and so forth.
I would say they fit under the LGBT umbrella, but I think that narrowing that and saying they fit under the T is a bit odd because again, I'm sitting here at 21 figuring out what the hell I'm going to do, transitioning, going through all this shit, and here's my friend talking about I'm trans, lipstick, beard, and he's done, and I'm like, not really the same thing by any stretch of the imagination, but okay.
Well, but they said that they're non-binary. I think you're caught up with words, and you're not realizing that. Like, I wouldn't want to do that. Like, I wouldn't want to put on lipstick and whatever. You know, I wouldn't want to do what that person's doing. So obviously, mentally, they're different. They should be recognized for how they're different.
I don't think it's caught up on words. I think it's just caught up on like understanding that like your experience is different than mine,
right?
And it's just different. It's not better. It's not worse. I'm not stronger. You're not weaker.
I would like to say that we assume we know each other's struggles. What I don't think we do. Like, that person may hate themselves. They may cry in the shower every night, cursing their own genitalia or whatever, which is a real thing. People actually do hate their body and so forth. Like with my spouse, people assume that they're just, you know, trying to be something they're not or something like that. But on a regular basis, I'm listening to this person talk about how they wish they could literally just cut their breasts off. You know, they hate their body when they look down. They don't feel like themselves. They just completely and utterly feel miserable with who they are. And that's because they were born something they're not, or to a gender they don't identify as. Mind you, my spouse doesn't quite identify as a boy, so that's why they're kind of, you know, in the middle. And I think that's something to recognize because, like, just because your suffering was greater than someone else's, you know, just because, like, let's bring this to race or anything really. Just because somebody struggled a lot more in the 1900s doesn't mean the same type of person or same racist person or whatever doesn't struggle today. So yes, you went through something that was very difficult, but I wouldn't say that your struggle was necessarily, you know, night and day. It was probably a lot more difficult. But I wouldn't say it's night and day different than a non-binary person or a gender person or whatever who just hates their body because they don't feel like they're in the right space. I would say that people, you know, who were given food as a kid that was unhealthy and then they're stuck in this fat body that's prone to being fat because their parents weren't training on them or whatever. I would say that their struggle is equatable to a lot of other people's struggles as well. You know, we try to. This is something I saw with the LGBT community a lot of times, like specifically with lesbian, gay people. They try to validate bi people who are into guys and girls at the same time. And I don't understand this because it's not like you just like if you go to your average straight person, you're like, hey, would you be with the same gender? And they're like, no, because that's who they are. Now you go up to a bi person, would you be with the same gender? Yeah. Would you be with the person opposite? Yeah. I don't see why LGBT, a group that's struggling so much, would want to create wars within themselves. So like when you make a video saying, hey, so and so, you know, I struggled more and you shouldn't be so cocky about your title or whatever. It's like we have bigger battles. We have the real enemy, which is the people who want you dead. That's the real enemy.
Well, I think, you know, in the context of like the West, want you dead is a little hyperbolic, but I will say,
we have the KKK in this country, so no.
No, I'm aware that there are technically like some people in the U.S. who probably would want to see LGBT people dead. I don't think that there's a significant amount of people enough though to be like there are bigger problems to worry about. If anything, I would say like that is bigger than like 20 people in Kansas wanting me dead. But anyway, we can disagree about that. But what I was gonna say is like it's not about my struggle being greater. It's just about recognizing the differences, right? And like I know that a lot of straight people and gay people, gay people and lesbians do tend to have this thing about bi people. I think that more so stems from ignorance because I think sometimes when you are very concrete in your sexuality, you can imagine someone being like, well, I like both, right? And so I think a lot of bi people get like kind of crapped on. However, I don't think it's the same thing because like I said, you know, if I recognize something,
it quite literally is basically the same thing.
Not really. And here's what I'll say about like non-binary people who maybe feel dysphoria. I would say like regardless of how they identify, if you feel dysphoria, I personally feel like that means that you're trans. Whether they want to like say that there's something else or they haven't come to the bridge where they accept or say that they're trans, you know, that's what it is. But I will say as well though, like a lot of people who identify as non-binary do it for political purposes. They don't do it because they are trans or have dysphoria or struggle with this thing. They do it because they entered, you know, a women's studies class or a sociology class in which they were told that there are like a huge spectrum of genders and a lot of people go through life. I think it's not everyone, but a lot of people. I think a lot of people go through life not really feeling to have enough things that make them stand out. They're just very normal people, like their lives are very standard. And so I think for a lot of people, it's enticing to say that you're non-binary and sort of take on that like I'm different type of thing without taking on the actual struggle of like growing up and having dysphoria and being trans and like coming from someone who my friend put on lipstick and a beard and was like, I'm chilling, I'm trans, to someone who was 4 years old crying because my parents put me in line with the boys in preschool. It's a very different experience. And so I'm simply recognizing the difference in experience. It's not about me struggling more being whatever. It's just about saying that's different. It's just two different things. Presentation, coming to realization when you're 22 that you want to put lipstick on is different than coming to realization at 22 because you struggled since you were 4 years old with something that you need to like take care of it.
Okay, so let me put it this way. My spouse, since they were a child, every Halloween, as far as I know, they were always a male type role. Like they would say, oh, you're gonna be a firewoman, and then my spouse would say, no, I'm a fireman, angrily, like really upset about it. So that applies to, you know, people who are not definitively male or female as well. Some people like actually just like bisexual people, they like going from one end to another, and they've been that way since they were a kid. Using that one experience that you had with one person to blanket statement all people like that just seems unwise.
Oh, it's not one person. I think that there is a lot of people who argue that you don't need dysphoria to be trans and to be non-binary, and that it really is just about gender presentation, when in reality being trans is much deeper than just presentation.
I feel like we're having the wrong discussion. The discussion we should be having is if you don't have dysphoria, you're probably not trans.
Agreed.
Okay, so it's not about a gender, non-binary, etc. You just need dysphoria because that's kind of the basis of being a person who has gone through a struggle their entire life to fit under that trans umbrella. So I think we agree.
There's common ground. I agree with that completely because if not, what else do you measure it with? What other metric is there? Like what other? If it's not that, then it's literally just shits and giggles, lipstick. And again, it's also one experience. Like living in LA, I met a lot of people who want to claim non-binary or they're non-conforming or whatever, and I think they're fucking great people. A lot of these people are really cool people to know. Never want to talk politics with them, but you know, other than that, they're pretty cool. But like, there's a lot of people who think they don't have dysphoria, and so for me, it's not that I get angry about it, but I feel like it is important to make a distinction because part of the journey for trans people, so people say, is for the general public, people who aren't trans, to understand trans people, right? Like that's what everyone claims they want. So why would you dilute the message about who and what trans people are with like, first, oh yeah, gender dysphoria, and then it's like, oh, but you don't need that, and then it's like, oh, but this means you're trans too, and this is, it's like, it doesn't translate to other people, and so I think it hinders the message a lot of times.
I have an analogy that I want to use. A lot of people who have biological children, like children that were born of them and that they raised, are irritated by people who claim to be parents because they have dogs. There's a big difference between people who have dogs and are parents and people who have their own children and are parents. And the key difference between those things is the struggle, the pain of birthing a child and the financial hardship of a child, which is very different than the financial hardship of a dog, and all the things that come with being a parent of a biological child. I think that is somewhat comparable to what you're talking about in the sense that this isn't really about non-binary, agender, etc. It's about whether or not the people who are trying to claim to be trans have actually experienced significant dysphoria for who they are and thus had that struggle to get them the title of whatever it is, because it's a title that is really, really important to a lot of people due to the fact that so many people go through these common experiences that involve so many people rejecting them and judging them, etc., and also them having problems with the way they were born. So what I'm saying is that I think that maybe you would have a lot less resistance in the future. Not that that's something you want, because it's exciting to have resistance, all the heated comments and debates, etc. But it would be a lot more clear if you were to just say dysphoria, 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 and not agender or whatever, because agender, non-binary, etc. They have, a lot of them have dysphoria. Not all of them. A lot of people do it because it's fun for them.
Well, yeah, it's not black and white. There's people who claim to be trans, and there's people who perhaps don't claim to be trans but still feel dysphoria and have to figure it out themselves.
I think the problem right now is that there's a big invalidation of non-binary / agender or whatever. People, I keep saying that because I don't really comprehend the difference, but there's apparently a big difference. So no, but like there's a big conflict. They feel really invalidated and hurt and so forth when they see videos like that saying that agender is a thing or non-binary is a thing when they're still experiencing dysphoria, and they're almost insulted when people make them identify them as a girl or a boy specifically, or sometimes ever. So
well, my sort of experience being in that space, I've never called myself non-binary, I've never called myself agender or whatever. But there was a period of time before I came to terms with the fact that I was trans and needed to transition to where I was presenting in sort of like a more androgynous way, and I was like going out and looking kind of in between, and like I didn't really care if people called me she or called me he because I was like, I'm just living my life. But the difference is like I didn't claim to be like something else because people couldn't tell what I was. Like I was still who I was, you know. But at the end of the day, it really is in some aspects a semantic thing, but in some aspects it also is like, you know, we're just not the same, and that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to reiterate. Let's not have collateral damage or people get hit and feel invalidated, because that's terrible to feel invalidated. I'm sure you're aware if someone just like walks up to you and says, you know, you're this and you don't identify as that, and they keep saying that you're this. Just well, I'm just saying like saying that people aren't valid because of their title rather than because of how they feel and their struggle. Like if you focus on how they feel in their struggle, that would be far, because you don't have any friendly fire when you do that.
Well, I would say there's collateral damage. I would make the argument there's collateral damage from people diluting the message of trans to include all these other things inside of it. I think that a lot of people use the non-binary, agender, etc. shit to kind of like throw away the trans topic and say, yeah, that's what they're all that, you know? Whereas in reality, people don't realize they're different, because a lot of times the non-binary people become spokespeople for trans people, and it's really not fair.
Let me put it to you this way. There are a lot of people who are predatorial in general. Some people who are predatorial are trans. But does that mean that we should act like all trans people are predatorial? Of course not. So some people who are non-binary are fake. They're doing it because they want to be, you know, edgy or whatever. Does that mean all non-binary people are edgy or whatever? No, it doesn't. So what I'm saying is focusing on the few people who are, you know, the edgelords who just want to be different. That's unfair to the majority of the community, and that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this isn't, you know, the biggest topic in my world. You know, like it's one of those things that is like so much more important on the internet than in real life. So we can.
Sorry, can you elaborate? It's much more important on the internet than real life. Are you saying that on camera you make it a bigger deal, but if you met somebody who was like that right across from you, you'd chill with them?
No, I'm not fake like that. It's more of like me being trans in general is a much bigger deal to people on the internet, and like obviously I make videos about it because it's relevant to what we want to hear about. But it's an interesting dichotomy to like live my life, and like I'm not trying to brag or anything. I'm not like that, but like no one in my daily life really reads me as trans, and no one that knows I'm trans really cares.
Yeah.
So it's like an interesting separation that online it's like, you know, such a bigger thing.
Well, this is pointless for me to point out, but I want to. Let's say you get 100,000 views, you get 1,000 comments. That's 1 out of every 100 people who actually said something. So if you encounter 100,000 people in real life, you're probably gonna have the same result. So it's not specific to the internet. Just saying. it's just statistics. Like those people are gonna point it out based on numbers.
Well, I guess so. It's just, you know,
you've surrounded yourself by people who aren't terrible. So that's why.
True.
For instance, let me put it this way: go into a redneck neighborhood in Tennessee. It's just like it's gonna be a different experience.
Well, you know, I've actually been. You know, we don't have to get too deep into this. I've been to a lot of very, very deep red areas. I've traveled a lot. I've lived in like places that are typically not friendly to me. Like and it's never really been a thing for me. But again, that might be because I didn't know I was trans. You know, who knows? But
we were raised by movies and the news and TV shows, which over-dramatize most every aspect of life. So yeah, that's probably why.
Agreed.
Anyway.
So is there anything else, Greg? Because I feel like
no, this was a wonderful conversation, and I greatly appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, you know, I really, like I said at the beginning, I really thought it was going to be something else, and so it definitely.
Yeah, it was I'm sorry for, you know, creating any anxiety, and you know,
not anxiety. It was just more.
I'm sorry for creating any anxiety on anybody who would have to, you know, talk to me. That's not my intention. I guess you didn't experience anxiety, but you experienced some anticipation of something very negative. So I'm sorry I gave you that impression.
Yeah. So I mean, it was great, and now I'm going to respond to the super chats because I promised that I would. You don't have to stick around for that if you don't want to. You can choose to, or you can go. But either way, I'm going to move on to that now.
But I'm hanging out.
Oh, okay. Let's do super chats then. So thank you to everyone who did a super chat, and obviously, we're going to read them now, unless they're like crazy vicious, because I'm not trying to ruin this civil vibe.
I'm totally fine if they're vicious. I think you should read every single one. They paid their money.
You know what? You're right. We're going to read every single one.
Yep.
So Jasmine SB, thank you, who says dysphoria is what makes you trans. Mental. Agreed. Alexa says, when does it stop being style and start being gender? Right. That's what's always been a little confusing for me, because a lot of people seem to attribute their gender to what they're wearing, and people may think the same thing about me, but that's not really the case. Like I can leave the house in no makeup, in a jersey and jeans, and still feel the way I feel. Ellie, thank you, who says, Onision, you should debate Hunter Avalon. Would you do that?
I'm trying to remember who that is.
He is a conservative YouTuber, white guy, dark hair, skinny. Hopefully that's not an insult. I don't want to sound mean.
Yeah, sure. Just tell him to email me. We'll talk.
Okay. Sounds cool. Maybe that's next. Thanks, Nihilistic Nachos, who said, how did Onision become a rich cop? Was he crooked? Also, were you a crooked cop?
Okay, so my job entailed me staring at a fence with a M4 most of the time. I pulled over one person in my total career because I was an A1C, the majority of it. And, you know, primarily the cops are sergeants and above. So, no, I couldn't possibly be crooked. I did get naked in front of my boss once just to prove a point. That was as crooked as it gets.
Okay. Thanks, Jasmine, who says he's dead ass losing it. Thanks, Shell Huggett, who says, hey, can you dab for me? I don't know particularly how to dab. I guess I can try.
That was awesome. That was like a Barbie doll dab. Oh my god.
Fan dab. Do you want to give a dab when you see on? It didn't say distinctly me.
Is this dab like that? Is that how you like that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Thanks, Casey Lynn, who says this onion is salty. Love salty. That sounds really good.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, damn, baked onions.
Thanks, Joanna Hishkel. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Who says you can apologize to people all day, but it's your heart's intent that matters. So just focus on your own happiness. Agree.
Yep, not bad.
Thank you, Slug to the chest. Love you. Who says Onision in parentheses should apologize. He's a puss A.
Okay. Puss A.
I did apologize, so you got your way, Slug to the chest. Thank you, Chloe, who says loving the stream. Love you, Chloe. Thank you. Thank you, Bridget, who says please follow me on Twitter. I will follow you on Twitter right now. I follow everyone who puts their social media in. It's the least I could do. It's like, I'm gonna follow you, honey. And I like filling out my feed with like supporters. I have no friends, so I need to follow someone. Thank you, Based Techbot, who says, I could use some help organizing a potato peeling event in the UK to protest weapon laws. Too dangerous for me to go to the UK due to alien politics.
What?
Yeah, this person thinks he's an alien.
Oh, like literal.
He's been here a few times. He thinks he's from a different planet.
Okay.
Which maybe you are, honey. I don't know. I'm not gonna judge you. Thank you, John Shepard, who said I once popped a nut to one of Onision's videos, and then I saw his follower demographic and saw I wasn't the only one. Thank you.
What does that mean?
I don't know, but someone popped a nut to you. Popped a nut sounds like that hurts. Busted nut is like, okay, you can, but like popped a nut is like hospital.
Yeah, like your right ball exploded while you did it.
Right. So it's not pop nuts. It's only bust nuts. Thank you, Jinx the Means, who says he apologized because of what Shane did, and he doesn't want people to bring that up towards him as a rebuttal.
I don't understand that. What is?
They're saying that you apologize for like the accusations of you being inappropriate with people because of the Shane thing. But
I still don't understand what that means.
Thank you, Bunny Sunny Mew, whose name I recognize, love you, says apologize to PewDiePie for saying he made the adpocalypse.
Who did make Adpocalypse? If it wasn't partially triggered by his death to all Jews sign thing.
I think that was probably one of the triggers. I think there was a lot of stuff though.
Yeah, I thought he was a huge part of it because right around the whole time that they were having this article released about YouTube putting ads next to things and stuff. So was he not responsible? Is my question. Because if he wasn't responsible, I'm sorry, but
he was used as ammo for sure. For
yeah.
There's YouTube and then the traditional media, and there's that war waging to this day, and they use that for sure, and it worked.
Okay. Bummer.
Thank you, Eduardo Ramos, who says please Blair, mention him calling out our good boy PewDiePie. I guess we already went over that one.
We just did.
Thank you, Izzy Belizzle, who says you pass as a girl and you're still more manly than him. Kind of brutal.
Well, not really. That would be brutal if I wasn't sure of my gender identity. You know, if I had a big fucking truck that was like 10 feet tall, yeah, that would hurt my feelings.
Thank you, Cam, who says talk about Lainey's gender and debate gender, and we did that. So got what you wanted. Thank you, Ignacio, who I recognize, who just bought a bunch of my merch recently. So thank you. New merch on my website, by the way. Who says both of you have matured a lot since your last debate, and it seems like a lot more civilized talk this time around. That's great. By the way, Britney's new album is coming. Buy Glory on iTunes. I love those accounts that like just gotta slip in like buy this album. But thank you, Ignacio. Thank you, Alpine says, can I get a boob squeeze from Onision?
Oh, okay, let's see how I am on camera. Boob squeeze. Done.
Thank you, Evan, who says please don't dodge the topics. Talk about Shane. I'm gonna go over Shane. I just felt like I didn't want to go too deep in because he's not here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Charlie Howell. No message, but love you. Thank you, Bunny Sunny News says please don't let him dodge the topic. Don't remember what topic that was, but I think we covered everything. Thank you, Victor Tomio, who says Onision, why did you cry so much about the drawing with Blair effing you if you said that rape jokes are funny and okay?
Well, that's a good question. I like that question. Okay, so I was upset about that because if the roles were reversed, I would have been banned from the internet. That's why I was pissed. If I released an image, a drawing where I was, sodomizing or whatever, then people would lose their crap.
Didn't you like do that with someone else with Andy, whatever his name is?
Yeah, but I like Andy. That's the difference. When you like somebody, you're not trying to, publicly violate them or anything. You're just actually, that's the difference between a joke and something very serious, which is like, I don't know. I felt like if you do something, it's kind of like, the N-word or anything. If you do something out of anger, it's really, really bad. If you do something because it's a joke and you're actually fine with, everyone involved, then that's different. So that's I just felt like if I did that, then people would say that I was some kind of, I don't know what they would say, but I would be done for, is all I'm saying. So that's why I made a big deal of it.
It probably would have been a bigger deal the other way around. I can
definitely. 100%.
I can concede that if it was a man doing it, I think it would have been worse. I will say in my defense, I didn't draw it. I retweeted it.
Sometimes we retweet things. I get it.
Yeah. So Eduardo says, Onion, just name PewDiePie instead of saying white YouTubers who say the N-word.
No, I was talking about all YouTubers who have said it. There's been a lot. There's a huge list of white YouTubers who have dropped the N-word, like hard R. So no, it wasn't just about PewDiePie.
Thank you, Lauren says Blair is not the devil. Thank you, I agree. Thank you, Charlie Hollowell with the message, but love you. Thank you, Soldier, who says one of my main rules for dating a trans is to be as feminine as Blair White at the minimum.
What?
I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you, Lauren, who says I love you, Blair. What's your view on libertarianism? I am not a libertarian. I think it's just another label, but I don't have anything against libertarians. Let's see. Thanks, Tribal Artist, who says Onision, stop trying to get into Blair's hair. She ain't into it.
I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I don't know what it means, but I'll apologize for it.
Thank you, Tribal Artist, who says drag him, sister. There's no dragging this time, but it was still, in my eyes, a good talk. Thank you, Tribal Artist, again, who says when you skip D rent to give it to someone else, make them bills, Blair, work. Thank you, Great, who says, hey, Blair, love your channel, and here's my Instagram. Love you too, and thank you, and I'll follow you for a second. Copy and paste your little name. Follow, thank you. Thank you, Danielle Northman. Thank you, Aircraft Sparky, who says Onision has no authority to talk about military or anything. He couldn't kill a rabbit in SERE, which forced him to drop. Conscientious objector failure.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of conscious objectors who are pretty respectable. There's an entire film made on a conscious objector who refused to kill, but he was still able to help his allies. So Mel Gibson, the director, and the one of the Spider-Man guys played the main character. It's a good movie, even though it's called Hacksaw Ridge, I think. Yeah. So I wouldn't crap on conscious objectors. They've actually proven to be a lot of times helpful. So I served very well until the end, and I started feeling totally screwed over by my own people. And I started liking South Koreans more than Americans, so that was a huge problem. Anyway. Okay, well, I'll be completely real. I don't really know much about any of that. So let's see. Thank you, Jacob Urosky, who says, as a gay Republican, I vote with the United States and its citizens' safety in mind, not my sexual preference. Sexuality doesn't determine morality. That's kind of what I was getting at, was that I would love the luxury of everything being so good that I could just vote on trans stuff, but there's just more to me. Thank you, Tribal Artist, who says, cannot clock the hairline, work, bitch. Thank you, but I'm not wearing a wig if that's what you meant. Oh my God.
It is not a wig. Or maybe you meant my hairline surgery, which that's not clockable either, so thank you. Thank you, Tribal Artist, who says, Miss Vanjie. Do you watch Drag Race?
Oh, I don't have time. I'm working all the time.
Okay, so you don't know the inside joke, but
okay.
Thank you, Katie Lynn, with the message. Thank you, Drama Queen, who says he laughs because you prefer the word right wing, water versus liquid. Didn't you do the same thing with the feminism term? Did you?
Egalitarianism versus feminism, is that what you're talking about? I don't know.
Probably.
Yeah, it's very similar, only one focuses on the broader group of both genders rather than just women.
Right, and I would say right wing is more broad than conservative because conservative is more centered on usually social issues.
Well, there you go.
Right, so kind of the same thing. Thank you, Felipe, who says greetings, milady. All my admiration and support. I hope you'll pay a visit to Europe. We'll be honored to meet you. With kind regards from Germany. Thank you so much. Love you. For the tour, we're starting out just in the US, but assuming it all goes well, we will be going to the UK because there's a lot of love from the UK on the tour demand page. Thank you, Reese, who says keep doing what you're doing. Super inspirational. Thank you. Thank you, Tribal Artist, who says she's bougie. I'm a little bougie, but not really. Thank you, the Wolverine X74, who says, hi, Blair. I won't be able to stick around for this one. Will the stream be available later? Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm keeping it up on my channel. Thank you, Ignacio, who says, why does Onision keep laughing at things Blair says, such as saying, oh, you broke a nail, as if it didn't seem hurtful, or would you call yourself right-wing and not conservative? Why does that seem funny? Love you, Blair.
I laughed at you breaking it seemed funny, like, oh, did somebody attack you? Yeah, I broke a nail. Like, that's a phrase. Like, oh, did you break a nail? That's why I laughed. You know?
I get it. And honestly, I see that whole video was funny. Moving forward, I'm like, it's like a ridiculous fucking video. I will say though, it hurt really fucking bad. It was not just like the acrylic, it was like it cut my real nail, so it was like bare skin on my finger.
Yeah,
I will say it really hurt. Let's see. Thank you, Jeremy Martin, who says, I'll never forget about the tweets he sent out the night that Christina Grime passed away.
Truly. Or is it Grime? Is it Grime or Grammy?
Grime passed away.
Truly. Or is it Grime? Is it Grime or Grammy? I thought it was Grammy.
Oh, okay. I just pronounced it wrong.
Yeah, I said a lot of. I'm sorry for the crappy things I said around the time that Christina Grimmie died. What I was talking about was trying to focus. I have this thing where I think that like a lot of people matter, you know, and not just celebrities and so forth. And so, you know, a celebrity dies, everybody talks about it, but like, you know, around similar times, you'll have 30 kids die from drowning or something like that. Nobody talks about that. And that's just, I shouldn't be mad at people who care about the one person. I should be mad at the world for not caring about the other people and not make that about one person or another. So I didn't mean to disrespect to Christina. What I meant was we needed to respect all these other people who died and nobody talks about. So it was a stupid, foolish time to bring up that point. So I'm sorry.
I think I vaguely remember the tweets, but I don't know.
No, it's really stupid.
Thank you, Rainbow Productions, who says Miss Vanjie. Everyone keeps saying Miss Vanjie, I'm living. Thank you, the doctor, who says I could be revising for an exam, but this is better. This is my first donation ever. Hope the debate goes well. Thank you, love you. Thank you, Tribal Artist, with a big donation. He says, hey, Tribal Artist, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Can't Catch a Break, with a message. Thank you, Danny Rinden, who says, why do you do this, Blair? Yeah, everyone, a lot of people, you know, no one like was mad at me, but a lot of people were like, why are you doing this?
Yeah, I went through a lot of the tweets last night, replying to yours, and people were like, it was a pretty much consistent narrative of Onision's completely irrelevant and he's just doing this for attention, and you should have just ignored him, etc. So that's why I say I appreciate you for actually moving forward despite what your audience seem to think. So.
Well, because I knew, like, you know, I didn't want to do like the drama thing, but like because of the email exchanges, it seemed like you wanted to debate on other stuff. So I was like, okay, you know, everyone always tells me they want to do a debate, no debate on my channel, so let's just do it.
Yeah, you debate plenty of people, and I'm not one to completely destroy statistics or anything on a video. They typically do well, so it just makes sense as a YouTuber.
Plus, why not? It's Sunday, why not? Thank you, Philip W. says, you know how I know Blair is more relevant than Onision because after 2 years I still follow her, and the only people who follow Onision after 2 years are preteen girls. It's like weird to even like read like mean things because we're like cool right now.
No. I don't feel here. I've been dealing with this for 11 years, so I basically don't feel anything anymore as far as those kinds of comments go. Like, I'm like, because here I think the problem is it's not original. If they came up with something new, that'd be cool. But no, that's just a typical phrase because everybody knows that my audience isn't just preteen girls. Because it's impossible. In fact, I have a Discord. I'm on Discord on a regular basis, and almost everybody there is over 30, at least over 25. So
I will say there are some that, like for instance, the other day, my friend from back home, one of my teenage friends, came in town for us to go to DragCon together, and she was like, "Man, my sister hates you, Blair." My little sister, she's like 15 or 14, maybe 16, I don't know, around there. And I was like, why? And she's like, because she really likes this YouTuber that you had a battle with. What was his name? And I was like, you're talking about like Onision? She's like, yeah, she loves Onision. She hates you because you battle with Onision.
Yeah, I need to stop making it so my audience thinks that they can't be fans of anyone but me. It's kind of ridiculous. And it's a little Kim Jong-unish, so I don't want to do that.
Yeah, well, hopefully.
I'm sorry about that 15-year-old following my bad example.
Whatever. Thank you, Abby Yo, who says come to Dallas. I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised, Abby Yo, because I know for a fact that Dallas, if not Texas in general, is going to be on the tour list. So be on the lookout. Thanks, Sophie, who says everything you do is a lie. I think we finally found another one towards me. Sophie.
They said they paid you to tell you that everything you do is a lie?
Living. Thank you, Bailey, who says I want Nicki Minaj wings. Okay. Thank you, Rainbow Productions, who says can you say Miss Vanjie? Miss Vanjie. Thank you, Nathan Borneo, who says I love you, Blair, and you gave me your Twitter as well, so I'll follow you right now. It doesn't exist. Sometimes people give me Twitters and they have a typo and I'm like, girl, I can't. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry, Nathan. Thank you, Yik Yak, who says hi. Hi. Thank you, Ellie, who says Onision, you're an awful person. I hate you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mashisu, who says cheerfully wave hello. I love you, Blair. Can you please do a shout out to Anime, Renee, and Chaos Eve? Yeah, shout out to you on Twitter, Anime, and Chaos Eve on Twitter. Love you, Mashisu. Thank you, Elena, who says Blair's my mother. I wish. Thank you, Cam, who gave me your Instagram, and I'll follow you right now. And also says I love you. I love you too. And I'm gonna refresh one more time just to get the super chats that came in since I started doing the super chats and read those, and then we're done. You really don't have to like stick around for this party. I mean, I appreciate that you are, but you don't have to.
Yeah, well, I have my spouse is currently away, so I am just working till I pass out every single day. I don't have anywhere to be.
Yeah, mine is doing the same. Thank you, Lex Life says Onision. I was self-harming in your video, and it was very hurtful. I get that it is my fault, but I saw the video and I wanted to point that out.
I missed that one. Did I need to say something?
You don't have to say anything, but basically someone saying that your self-harming videos were hurtful.
Oh, they were hurtful. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I made more recent ones that are a lot more mature and less aggressive. For the longest time, I've been like, oh, I'm the most honest YouTuber, and I'm so bluntly honest that you can't accept it, and that's why you hate me, blah blah blah. But the reality is that there's a way to talk to people where you can actually give them exactly the same message, and it doesn't have to hurt their feelings, but it still resonates with them, and that is just a part of my maturity. So, I'm working on it.
Thank you, Amelia Martin, who says this debate was civil. I agree. It was. It took me by surprise on me because everyone followed the last one. That one got so many views. I was like confused as to why I got that many views. I was like, a live stream? Damn. Thank you, Emma Shaw, who says, Blair, can I see your puppy? Yeah, she can see my puppy. One sec. I'll get her. She's here. I think she's probably really sleepy. Oh, I think she's a little shy, you guys. She's not really ready to be a star yet. You know, she's not getting that much on-camera work yet, but here she is. Her name's Bella. She's new. Thank you, Sean Kibi, who says, have an amazing night, guys. Thanks for the show. Thank you. Thank you. She One Head Honey. Hi, June, who says, I love the fan. You look cute, sis. I want to train right now. I don't have the internet, but I'll watch later. Here's some money. Thank you, June. I love you. I can't wait to see you at the con. Thank you, Tori Stories, who says, what's a cute name, Tori Stories? Who says, I'm from Kansas and a Democrat. I appreciate you being so real with yourself politically and internally, even if people who are on my political side don't always support you. Thank you, Tori. Love you. Thank you, Evan, who says, we'll be coming to Florida for the tour. Florida was a big possibility. I'm getting the official list like sometime this week, but I know that Orlando popped up, so we'll see. I don't know if I can handle the humidity, but I'm gonna try. Thank you, Susan, who says, Blair, you... I just said Blair. I like combined Greg and Blair.
Oh no! Oh my god! I didn't realize we were Glare. That's
I can't. But Susan says, Greg, you called PewDiePie a pedo.
Did I?
I don't know. I didn't watch.
He said he responded to something that another YouTuber said, and he said everyone has their tricks to see 12-year-olds tits, is what he said. And that was one of those things where I was like, dude, I don't see myself ever saying something like in a tweet or anything. And was he? And then my spouse explained to me that apparently that's a common joke or something. Everyone has their tricks to whatever. But yeah, no, if he's not actually a pedo, I'm sorry. I just was really freaked out by that one thing. Yeah.
I didn't watch it, so I can't speak to it. Thank you, Cam, who said I love you so much. Blair, my Instagram is this. Love you, Cam. Following you. No. Love you. Thank you, Sailor Moon says my Instagram is this. I love you, Blair. Love you too. I just want to copy paste everyone's things into a word pad because it's a little distracting to do it now. But I'll get everyone. Thank you, Colton, who says love you, Blair. I'd like to see you again on the Reuben report. I would be down to do it again. It'll be my 4th time, but hopefully this time it wouldn't be as heated and disgusting. And hopefully he would get some AC in there because it makes it even more heated, technically, to have no AC and have someone screaming in your face. Hopefully we can do AC next time. Just saying. Did you see that?
No, I don't watch anything on YouTube pretty much.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I did a debate on the Reuben report that was particularly disgusting. Way worse than you and I, by the way. Like topped it. Like couldn't have been worse, and it wasn't my fault that time.
That sounds like a blast.
It was an experience. Thank you, Shannon says Blair looks like a queen while Onision looks like a school. Oh,
shooter.
Listen, if anything gets demonetized, it's that, so we're not going to say.
Oh, okay. Because I get that a lot. I was like, back when I was growing up in high school, people who were characterized that had long hair, and so now I guess it's short hair or something.
Yeah,
times have changed.
Yeah,
it's weird. So basically, people who look like they're in the military are all shooters.
I don't know. Thank you, Fatal Arya says please follow me on Twitter. I will. Thank you, Fatal Arya. I'm putting you in a Word document. Thank you, Alexander Ray says I love you, Blair. I haven't watched Onision. I have no opinion of him except you understand based on your history when people are skeptical of you. And that's a question for you. Do you understand people who are skeptical of you?
Yeah. No. Okay. So somebody I was on with kind of half fan, like former fan, kind of just feeling hurt by me or whatever. And they were talking to me. They're saying, you know how hard it is to be a fan of yours because every single time someone says something that they like you or whatever, they get approached by people saying this, and this about Onision. And I was like, damn, it is very hard. I imagining being like a fan of anybody where no matter what I said, I always get crapped on. This must be incredibly difficult. And I did that to myself. So I kind of deserve to lose fans because of that. So I get why people would be skeptical of me. Just there's so much out there that's promoted that's like. It's very intense. I've apparently committed every crime known to man according to the internet. So I
get a similar sort of thing. Like if I see an Instagram post of someone like posting a picture of me being like, "What are the favorite YouTuber?" The comments will be loaded with like, "Okay, but remember when she said this or did this?"
You get one chance.
Yeah, so it makes people not want to publicly be your fan because people will go against them.
Yeah, like me, for instance, I would crap on you and then people don't want to be your fan, so it's my fault on that and many others. Yeah, you reap what you sow. That's what I'm saying.
Very that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jackie, who says I'm glad to see this debate seem to be more chill. It's nice seeing you guys talk civilly. Same. I knew it was either going to be that or just like last time, so I'm glad it was more civil. Thank you, Madness, who says, Blair, would you go on Sarcasm Liberty live streams to talk and discuss things? He's a veteran and a comic fan, and please follow him on Twitter. I would go. I'll go on any live streams. I'll do anything.
What?
I mean, I'll do it. I don't care. I'll go on a live stream. Thanks to Brielle, who says, cuck boy. Love you, Blair.
Hey, do you know what that means?
Are you a cuck?
I don't know what that means.
It means that you enjoy watching
men, right?
Fornicate with your.
I like watching women with women. Yeah.
Okay, but
I don't like watching men with women unless it's like monogamous and I'm watching online and not in person.
Okay.
I know other people who like that, but I prefer watching or seeing two women take part in things just because women are awesome. So I don't
know. Let's see. Thank you, Araya Ann says Onision genuinely comes off as socially awkward. Like the passive aggressiveness is so awful to watch.
Socially awkward. That's like literally every YouTuber.
I was gonna say that's literally are, and some people maybe come across as the last on camera, but we're all awkward pieces of shit. Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Lil Tattoo, who says, can you give my boy William a shout out, Blair? Shout out to William. He says he loved you so much and he showed me to you. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have found you. Love you, William. Shout out to you. Thank you for being nice to me. Thank you, TSG, who says, I followed Blair since day one and Onision for years. Don't often agree with Greg, but he seems happier and healthier than I've ever seen, and we need more civil dialogue like this. It's a nice comment.
Yeah, that's freaking great how open-minded they are, Jesus.
Did we find the one person who's both of our fans?
You're a unicorn.
You are a unicorn, TSB. Thank you, Corey Duffy, who says, who is worse, Logan Paul or Rice Gum? I will say this, I don't know who Rice Gum is, and as much as everyone hates Logan Paul and I find him annoying, my boyfriend Joey has worked with Logan Paul and says that he's one of the nicest people ever. So
yeah, I actually also know someone who made a number of videos with Logan Paul, and they said that Logan Paul's really great.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as well.
We're all just so many people.
We're all just trying to make it, honey.
Well, no, I think that there's just so many. I am a dick, and I've been a dick for such a long time. And then when I took a step back, I started to realize we're all just full of crap.
Everyone's true.
Yeah. So.
Let's see. Thanks to Jordan, who says, "Girl, get a new fan. Something fabulous for VidCon." This wasn't broken until I started the live stream. Then it broke. But I get a new fan. But Bella loves being fan because she's a Pomeranian and summer and she has a lot of fur. So this is half for her. Thanks, Walking Pete, who says, "Hey Blair, I'm an Arab American who was inspired by you to make my own channel and voice my opinions. Would love if y'all could check it out and sub." Shout out to Walking Pete. Everyone go subscribe to Walking Pete. Love you. Thank you. Thanks, MH, who says, if Greg cares so much about non-binary people, why does he abuse his spouse? And when called out, why does he deflect and call her abusive? Throwing her under the bus isn't love.
They're talking about me calling my spouse names when I get frustrated. Like kind of like I do to anybody online. It's like you get really upset or pushed to the wall, and so you respond by saying, you're a this, and this, or whatever, and just saying angry words. And that's something that I need to work on. And you're right. I shouldn't deflect and say that my spouse says things to me because that doesn't make it right. So I'm sorry.
You know what's interesting is like Johnny and I call each other names, so it's my boyfriend. But like the different thing is like we refuse to ever call each other names when we're angry. Like we'll do it when we're joking. Like
yeah. No, I do it angrily, and that's a problem.
Yeah. So I think that's when it's a problem. Like last night we were on the couch watching Harry Potter, and he like accidentally kicked me. I'm like, you son of a bitch. But like if I was actually mad, I was like, you son of a bitch. Like that's different,
Yeah. Well, I will say that I've been much better. Like I was cussed at recently, and I just said, I'll talk to you later. That was the end of the conversation. It wasn't like, well, F you or anything. No, it's just that was the end of the conversation. I learned to let it go before it turns into me saying something mean.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Thank you, Sarah Durant, who says, came in late, but hi Blair, come to Orlando on your tour. No promises, but I think Orlando looked promising. So we'll see. Are you okay? Let's see. Thank you, Soldier of God, who says, great content. Love you. That's the goal, right? Good content. Thanks, Soldier of God, and I'll follow you and everyone else when I'm off of here, I promise. Thank you, Cherubian Animates, who says, my Instagram is this, and I'm doing fan art. Tag me in it. Please tag me in it, and I would love to see it. Someone should draw you and I like making amends, like shaking hands, and kind of symbolic, like it's over art. Why don't you do that?
Or me just shaking the strap on I was violated with in the other drawing.
Or that, you know what I mean?
And you with your hands on your hips proudly as I shake it.
Someone's gonna draw that now, just so you know. Thank you, Dice R, who says, "Hey, Candace doesn't hate you, Blair. You're confusing us with Hollywood."
Hollywood.
Candace doesn't hate me.
Oh, right, because Hollywood's hardcore liberal, right?
It's interesting being out here, like when I meet someone and they know of like my online presence, like the trans part of it, they're like, "Oh my god, you're so great! Like, let's be friends. Like, let's do makeup and shop and meet my friend here in LA. We're so famous." And then like when they find out like the other videos I do, they're like, "This fucking bitch." So
wow,
it's an interesting dichotomy. Let's see. Thank you, Enigma Popstar. Thank you, Sean Peavy. Thank you, the Ruben Flyer, who says, "Blair, Quadir Howard loves you and said on a live stream he would love to collab with you." I love Quadir Howard. If Quadir Howard is down to collab with me, I will do any kind of. I will fly to Atlanta and film it with him in person. I'm messaging Quadir Howard, honey. That's what I'm gonna do. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you, Patrick, who says, "Love you. I know you're still working on the tour, but do you know if Dallas, Texas is on the list?" Honey, everyone asked about Dallas, so you know Dallas is on the list. Dallas came out very strong on the tour demand. So, thank you, S. Lyle, who says you're beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Dre, who says, "Is Onision secretly attracted to you?" I don't believe that's the case.
My attraction is primarily based on personality. So if no, not before this conversation, but I'm attracted to people just like friends and stuff like that. Like, yeah.
Right.
No, let me be blunt. I'm not gonna go beat off in the shower later to this or anything. So no.
I might.
Okay.
Thank you, Seamus McKenna, who says, "Greg, show us your vegetarian body."
I don't want to. Do I have to?
Someone paid to see it, Greg.
Okay, one sec. You want me to scream?
Oh, shit. Shield your eyes, Bella.
This is my vegetarian body! Ah! Like that? You did it.
Bury that. Okay, props to you. You're a good sport. You did it. Someone got their $5. Holy shit. Thank you to whoever put that super chat in.
I have clothes on now.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Where do I go from that? Next super chat. Thanks, Lex with no message. Love you. Thank you. Simon does not know. Who says, "Hi Blair, I just came out as a trans man to my dad." I'm not over it. I'm not over it. Okay, I'm sorry. "Hi Blair, I just came out as a trans man to my dad with the help of your videos. Also, wonderful talk, you too." Thank you, and I'm proud of you for coming out. And the fact that my videos helped you means the world to me. So I love you. Best to you in the future, and thank you for being nice. Thank you, Nikki, who says, "Does Onision only know how to give backhanded compliments?" Hi Blair. I feel like you gave some straight up compliments. I feel like you gave some straight up compliments.
I wish they gave an example.
Yeah, I don't know how much we're really backing. Thank you, Muck Privilege, who says, "Blair White Onision collab." Listen, hold your break.
We just did. This was a collab.
This is a collab. This is our second collab, honey. Do you just bite my dress, really? Okay, I'm gonna do one more refresh, and I think I got all of them. And I think it's a shorter refresh. Thanks, Megan, who says, "Great to see two civil people having a conversation. Love you, come to Scotland." I love come to Scotland. Love you. Thank you, Arbeen, who says, "Blair, I love you, beautiful." Love you too, Arbeen. Thank you, MH, who says, "Tell Greg to Google narcissism, narcissistic injury, and narcissistic rage. He's behaving in a very textbook way and should learn about himself."
Yeah, I've been getting that a lot as of late. I haven't Googled it yet. I'll Google it right now.
I feel like Googling conditions isn't the best thing to do, honey.
Yeah, that's how I get myself.
I have brain cancer every time I feel sick. Googling.
Throat, narcissism, so forth. I don't know, man. Here's the thing: is a lot of behaviors and stuff can be pushed into different categories depending on where you. It's kind of like horoscopes. Not that diagnoses are horoscopes, but I'm just saying like there's a lot of broad terms used in diagnosis, and you need a professional to diagnose you. You can't just like Google it and say, "Oh, I'm this." I've tried that before, and it was a mistake.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so maybe not try to diagnose people if you're not a doctor. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's see. Thank you, Joanna, who says, "I'm not a fan of Onision, but I'm not going to hate because I have no idea what any YouTubers are really dealing with behind the scenes." It's a very mature opinion to have.
Yeah, that's pretty responsible.
How different are you in real life as opposed to your videos? Like, how much does your personality change in real life as opposed to online? Is it the same, different?
Just use this stream as a baseline. However I act in this, compare that to the videos, and that's the difference. Because it's just me, so that's it.
Okay, good to know. I would say for me, I'm just more, I'm pretty much the same. I'm just more on in videos, you know?
I think you're a little bit funnier in videos. You're not trying to be as funny in the live stream.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're not even trying. Maybe you just naturally are funny in your videos. I don't know. But I just noticed that you have a sass to you that's very humor driven, and it might be unintentional. Like that vegetarian body thing. That I wasn't trying to be funny ever when I did that.
Really?
Yeah, no, I wasn't. I was just really that nuts. So yeah, the first time I did that, I was actually full blown nuts. So like,
oh my god, I thought that was for a joke.
No, it originally spawned from me bragging about being a vegetarian and how great my diet was, and people are calling vegetarians weak, and I'm like, no, this is my vegetarian body. And when you scream, your veins pop out, your muscles, etc. So yeah, it's actually a completely horrifyingly embarrassing origin. So yeah.
Lord, honey. Okay.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, you're basically the same, only you're a little bit more sassy in your normal videos.
Yeah, I'm more chill in real life.
Yeah.
Thanks, Time Code Mechanics, because I have to shoot a fight scene tonight, so I have to run. But Blair, you two are great together when you're chill. Thank you. Good luck with your scene. Thank you, Riot, who says, Onision said everyone matters, not just one person, like the celebrity who died. He's wrong. Only one person matters, and it's me.
Whoa, that caught me off guard. I was waiting for the jab, but that was weird.
I want to talk about narcissism, honey. Thanks, Nathan, who says, I messed up the handle, but I tweeted you. Go look. Honey, I get too many tweets. I'll never find you. Nathan, you need to like DM me on Instagram. Do that. I'll check my DMs afterwards. Thank you, Alpane, who says, the thing that turned me off from Onision's channel was him saying you weren't a real fan if you didn't give him money, but this was chill. So can I get a big fat banana boob squeeze from Greg? Did you get that or no?
Banana boob squeeze. Well, let's do the banana boob squeeze real quick. I think I have to do this individually because there's one squeeze that's banana shaped, right? So there's the other squeeze. If I said you're not a real fan, if you don't, no, I think I was trying to say that some of my biggest fans are the people who I don't want to plug my content against, so I'm not gonna say. But no, I just thought that if you went above and beyond to help someone survive, that you cared about them more than the people who could do that but didn't. And I think that's all I was saying, and that's why I was prioritizing those people. All fans, all lives matter. All fans matter. They're all a big deal.
I will say this: you're not a real fan to me if you don't give me money. No. Just kidding. I appreciate nice comments as well as cash. I appreciate everything.
Yeah. You take nice comments and cash.
You can pay me in compliments or cash. I take PayPal, Venmo, compliments. Thank you, Mia is great, who says Blair is an icon. Thank you. Thanks, Jaylee, or Brendan, who says, my name is Jaylee, and I love you so much. Why is your name Brendan? I won't even ask, but I love you. Thank you, honey. Thank you, Jinx the Minx, who says glare is a shit. Now confirmed. God damn it. Let's not go there. Listen, we're finally on like decent footing. We ain't got to rush, honey. This is
that's fan art right there. Is a ship that has an angry facial expression. The glare ship.
glare. Let's see. Thank you, Kaylee says Blair, I adore you. You really changed my view of Onision. Very cool to see him be a real person. That's good. It
requires a very low self-esteem. It requires a lot of Jesus, that's dope. There's
an echo?
Yeah, it's still there.
Is it bad?
It requires it's a lot bad echo. I'm just saying, you have to be at a low point to realize the wrongs of your ways and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not fun for me, but I'm glad you appreciate it.
Is there still a bad echo? I'm just curious.
It's fine. I just won't talk.
Okay. Thanks, Robert, who says Onision is making mature statements? Question mark. Thanks, AJ, who says the video mocking Eugenia was disgusting. Thanks, Dre, who says girl, come to Minnesota or I'll cry. Please do not cry, but I will try. That rhymes. Thanks, Mac J, who says, hey, Greg, you blocked me on Twitter about 13 times. And I was wondering if we can sort it out.
13?
It's a lot.
Yeah. I don't think I could sort it out with someone I blocked 13. And then, like, I'm trying to be cool and everything, but if you got blocked 13 times.
Yeah, I agree. There are certain people are like, if you block someone, you're a coward. And sometimes that's the case. If someone touches something to prove you wrong, and you're like, shit, I got blocked. I'm gonna be a coward. But there are some people that like, I don't know, if you're tweeting me like a wiener every day, I'm gonna block you.
If you said 3, I would have been fine, but 13.
13 is a lot. Thank you, Yo Master, who says Blair has a 42-inch ass. I don't. That sounds really large, and I'm not there. I'm actually been working out lately, so I'm not big like that. Thank you, Wolfgang, who says, hey, Onision, I have a money-making idea for you. Have sperm banks pay you to not donate to them. Okay.
That was sick. I would if I could.
Thank you, the Skeleton Goth, who says, I wanted to apologize to Greg for everything I've said to him on his social media. I'm going to subscribe to his channels again.
Thank you for giving
That's
it.
nice. That's nice.
That was nice.
I'm really shocked by the damn end of this video, like the outcome. It's very shocking to me. I thought like, even if it was more on the civil end, that people would still be very like rigidly like anti-you, but it sounds like some people are changing their minds. So that's cool.
Yeah, well, I'm all fucked up in the head, so I can't really.
Same, I think I'm a woman. So let's see. Acacia Damsel says, can we see the outfit you're wearing, Blair? I would stand up and show you the full outfit, but Bella is on my lap and she is sleeping, so I don't want to grow up. I think we got everything. I think we're good. I think that's it for the super chat. I think that's it for the conversation. I thank you for coming on and being cool because I responded in kind and everything's cool. So
yeah, I'm very happy with everything. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you for everyone for tuning in. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, everything else like that. Follow Onision as well. I will plug Onision. And see everyone later. Bye guys.